At the beginning of the film, we are transferred to a small cafe. A young Slim works there as a waitress. The girl delivers orders and tries to be friendly. One day, a young guy with a rose in his hands appears in the establishment. He almost immediately starts flirting with Slim and asking about her life. The girl replies with a slight irony and tries to get away from the guy as quickly as possible. Slim's friend advises her to pay attention to the guy because he is obviously trying to impress her. Ginny is sure that he should be encouraged. Slim listens to her friend and has a nice conversation with the guy. However, the conversation is suddenly interrupted by Mitch, who informs her that the guy was at this diner yesterday and bet his friends that he would spend the night with the waitress. Slim has a closer look at Mitch, and after a while, they arrange a wedding. During the celebration, the businessman's parents find out that Slim's father left when she was only 2 years old. The girl dances with Mitch and asks if he will love her forever. The businessman promises that he will make Slim truly happy. Ginny, meanwhile, seduces Mitch's mate. Soon, the question of choosing a house comes up. During the trip, Slim literally falls in love with one of the buildings. Despite the fact that the owner informs him that the house is not for sale, Mitch convinces him to sell the property. In addition, the businessman slightly threatens to achieve his goal and settle Slim in the house of her dreams. After a while, the girl gets pregnant, and soon she has a daughter. Slim raises the girl with her spouse, but sometimes notices that the man behaves cold with her. One day, the girl offers Mitch to take a shower together, but he rather coolly replies that he's going to go out in a couple of minutes. Slim covers her daughter with a blanket and then heads to the kitchen to do the dishes. Soon, the girl hears a message notification on Mitch's phone. Slim calls back the number listed and learns that her husband has a mistress. When Mitch comes out and says he is late for a meeting, the girl says she knows about his affair. The businessman convinces Slim that she and their daughter Gracie are far more important to him than some young mistress. The girl believes him and agrees to forgive such an offense. However, after a while, Slim realizes again that her husband is cheating on her. Mitch doesn't even hide it and says that it is his natural male needs. When Slim throws a tantrum and tells him that she will not tolerate this attitude, her husband raises his hand on her. Mitch says that today the girl paid for all the wonderful life he gave her. The businessman believes he brings money into the house, which means he makes the rules. The next day, Slim goes to see her mother-in-law, but doesn't get the proper support. After that, the girl goes to the cafe to Jeannie. The friend agrees that this cannot be tolerated, and therefore suggests going to the police. Slim has to make a choice: either stay and live with her husband according to his rules, or take her daughter and become a single mother. The girl makes a decision and goes to the kindergarten. From the teacher, Slim learns that her husband has already taken Gracie home. Arriving at the mansion, the girl realizes that no one is there. Slim calls her husband, and the man says that he and Gracie decided to go to the zoo. Over dinner, Mitch has a conversation with the girl. The businessman reminds her that he's used to getting everything he wants, and he still needs Slim for now. The girl responds by saying that she just wants to be happy. The next day, Slim goes to the police, but realizes that they are unlikely to help her there, especially since her husband is a rich and powerful man. However, the girl decides not to give up. One night, Slim quietly gets out of bed and goes to the toilet. Having pretended that she washes her face, the girl goes to the nursery and takes her daughter, as well as bags with things. In the car on the street, Slim is waiting for her friends, who should help her escape from her horrible husband. However, when the girl decides to open the door, the awakened Mitch attacks her. Ginny hears a noise and, together with Jim, breaks into Slim's house. Seeing the girl lying on the floor, Ginny panics and runs up to her. Mitch, meanwhile, threatens with a gun and swears that if anyone goes to the police, he will mess up their lives. Jim picks Gracie up and takes her in his arms, though, while his friend takes Slim away. Mitch promises that this isn't over. Slim refuses to go to her friend because her husband knows her address. The girl decides to rent a hotel room for herself and her daughter, but soon she learns unpleasant news. Quite naturally, Mitch froze the credit card and accounts from which his wife could withdraw money. Slim manages to rent a cheap motel room where she chats with a friend on the phone. When another call comes in, the girl expects to hear Ginny again. However, the phone is instead picked up by Mitch. The businessman informs her that Slim's whereabouts were easy to find and then offers to talk. When the girl refuses, she hears a knock on the door. It turns out that Mitch has been standing in the corridor all this time and now intends to break into the room. Slim takes his daughter in his arms and runs away from the motel. The girl manages to jump on the bus, and Mitch only has to stare angrily at her. Jim helps Slim and pays for her ticket to Los Angeles. There, the girl meets her old friend Joe. At his house, Slim says that she wanted to find a place where no one would look for her. However, at the same moment, there is a knock on the door. Through the peephole, Joe sees an FBI agent who claims to be investigating a case of a kidnapped child. The men enter the house and start searching it. Fortunately, Slim hides good and she is not noticed. Joe receives a few threats, but it all goes without consequences. Shortly after the FBI visit, the phone rings. Joe picks it up and goes into another room. Mitch talks to Slim's friend and convinces him to cooperate. The businessman has no intention of giving up, and his wife is terrified. Slim doesn't want to put his friend in danger, and therefore goes to San Francisco. There, the girl decides to finally meet with her father, named Jupiter. Slim recalls that she sent him many letters. Jupiter refuses to acknowledge his paternity and gives the girl $12 for sandwiches. On the street, Slim cries, but realizes that she will never return to her husband. The girl decides to go with Gracie to northern Michigan. There, Slim lives with Jim's friends, and also makes herself and her daughter new documents so that her husband can't find them. Soon, the girl receives a letter with money from Jupiter. The man writes that 3 men showed up at his door and threatened him if he didn't tell on Slim. After that, the man still believed that his daughter came to him and decided to help her. Jupiter supports the girl financially, and she manages to buy a house and settle there with Gracie. Slim, now called Aaron, starts a new happy life. However, Gracie is sad and asks to talk to her father. Slim decides to take a dangerous case and calls Mitch from a petrol station. The businessman uses this to figure out where the signal is coming from. In this, he is helped by Robin, the guy from the cafe. It turns out that they are good friends who have long deceived girls when Mitch pretends to defend their honor. Robin explains that Slim has nothing to punish him for, as the mother has the right to take the child away. However, Mitch insists. His accomplice must go to northern Michigan and find the girl. Robin manages to do so rather quickly, and the day he arrives on the ferry, Joe, who has come to visit Slim, gets off it as well. Mitch's accomplice takes some pictures as proof, and even has a conversation with Gracie. At night, Slim proposes to a friend to lie in bed together. After a sudden kiss, Joe says that the girl is a very wonderful person, as is her daughter. Soon the friend leaves, and Slim continues to enjoy a quiet life with his daughter. However, after some time, the girl feels that someone has broken into the house. Mitch appears in front of her, who demands that the girl return, and everything will be as before. When the businessman attacks Slim, Gracie stands up for her mother. The girl tries to escape in a car, but is chased by Robin. Slim manages to get away, after which she gets into another car and puts on a wig. The girl tries to calm her daughter down and explains to her that they'd have to change their names again. Slim goes to lawyer James and asks him to help her. The lawyer informs Slim that because of her behavior, she is likely to lose custody of her daughter during the court hearing. In addition, James is convinced that in fact, on the day of the trial, Slim will try to take her life. The girl realizes she can no longer run away and scares Gracie. Secretly, Slim gives her daughter to her friend and sends them on holiday. After that, the girl starts boxing and self-defense training to defeat Mitch. The trainer for the daughter is found by Jupiter himself. Slim proceeds to carry out her plan. The girl, with the help of Jupiter, finds a lady who looks like her. Slim tricks the surveillance into going to the Vesuvius Hotel, and then leaves there disguised and flies to Los Angeles. Tail, however, stays behind to follow a woman who looks like Slim. Slim herself secretly sneaks into Mitch's house and hides there. When the man leaves, Slim hides all of his weapons, disconnects the phone service, and prepares for the evening's fight. Ginny calls the girl and reminds her that she has the right to defend her life and the life of her child. In the evening, an unsuspecting Mitch returns home. Suddenly the lights go out, and then Slim says she is here. As Mitch searches for the gun, the girl reports that she discovered it earlier. Slim comes out to her husband and says they have to work things out here and now. The girl plants letters in Mitch's box saying that he invited her. Slim intends to destroy her unfaithful husband, billing it as self-defense. At first, the girl copes well with Mitch and his attacks. At some point, Slim has a chance to take her husband's life, but she can't do it. While the girl is chatting with Ginny, Mitch attacks her from behind. Slim remembers the trainer's words and finally eliminates her husband. The police arrive and believe the girl was defending herself against Mitch. According to the law, Slim, defending herself, could accidentally take the life of another. Soon, the girl meets Ginny at the airport. Slim hugs her daughter and says that now they will definitely be happy. This is the end of the film. Thank you all for watching this video to the end. Give this video a like. Write in the comments what you think about this film, and see you in new videos.